correction in the introduction. I've got 18 years experience. So, and I actually currently sit as the chairperson of NEMISA as well, which is an entity within the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, responsible for reskilling the public sector and the private sector in 4R skills. The focus areas there for the private sector is on disadvantaged individuals, those that cannot afford to study any skills relating to the emerging technologies and the 4R agenda. So we've been tasked to cater to such areas. So thank you so much for the introduction, Chairperson, appreciate it. Following Dr. Ramakgopa's presentation, I think the time now for women engineers has never been ripe and has never been the right time. There's just so many opportunities that as engineers and as women, we need to stand up and embrace and take advantage of and make them real, make them a success. So I want to start on a softer note. So women are considered to be such interesting creatures. Some say we make the world go round. Others say we run the world. Others say we make life worth living. And some say we make the world a better place to be. And others just don't understand us and don't even have an opinion about what is this creature all about. So in my speech, I'm going to be talking about what is the women's role in the engineering sector and what areas can we participate in to make a difference. Sorry, my screens are just not playing with me here. Okay. So women are considered to have 4 strengths that men don't generally have. And those are appreciation of beauty and excellence. The second one is kindness. Third one is love. And the fourth one is gratitude. Now, if we can harness these strengths as women and make a contribution within the sector, we can really make a difference. So why are women important in engineering? So Refilo, you mentioned diversity in your introduction. We bring in an element of diversity that men cannot bring, and that leads to better solutions and better products. Our contribution in shaping the future, it's due to our different approach to creativity compared to how men approach creativity. And engineering is a life and world-changing career, if you think about it. You know, the work that we do really changes people's lives. It creates environment that didn't exist before. And women create variety at work. You know, we bring in a dimension that make solutions more robust. And if you think about it, when Apple created the health app, there were no women involved apparently, and they forgot to include the period tracking element of it. And when it went out into the market, they actually discovered that it's quite an important element to include in your health app, that when users started experiencing the app, they received feedback that it just doesn't cater for women. So it just shows the importance of women in everything that is being done. And women engineers are required to inspire the next generation. You know, who can inspire the next generation than women themselves, the next women engineers? So we need to ensure that we encourage more women to stay in the industry, especially because there are a number of women leaving the industry, which is sad. There are already such a few of us. And if some of us start leaving the industry, we are making the situation worse than what it is now. And I would say I want us to look at an approach where we consider abundance versus scarcity. So if we can adopt a mentality of abundance, we can deliver infrastructure services equitably. South Africa, as we know, has an overwhelming number of infrastructural challenges that could perpetuate for many decades to come if we continue doing things the way we are doing them now. If we continue using the old financing structures and procurement processes. And I'm very happy that Dr. Ramogopa highlighted some of the new blended finance mechanisms that are being brought into the space, because that will assist in unlocking the challenges in the infrastructure space. And if you look at an abundance mentality, it says there's enough for everyone. And if opportunities are offered and awarded on an equitable basis, we can really solve the challenges that we face. Now, scarcity on the other side, if we have to continue with our scarcity mentality, nothing will be resolved in our country. We'll continue to complain about how basic services don't exist, how electricity is expensive, it's unstable, it's unreliable, but we would not solve those challenges if we continue with the scarcity mentality. Now, love is considered one of the women's strengths. So if we look at women, women are driven primarily by fear in most cases. I'll tell you why. So you find a lot of women engineers that are not willing to take on the challenge because of various reasons. One is the fear of failing. And failing is good. If we can all learn to fail and fail fast and fail more often, we can solve a lot of the problems we have. So if you look at love versus fear, love is the absence of fear. So if we as women, with our strength of love, can focus on our love for the sector, that we let go of the fear to fail, we can actually do more. And in today's world, we've got such rapid technological transformation that you cannot afford not to fail. If we continue being paralyzed by fear, we would not achieve anything, because the challenges that we have can be solved by us, not by some multinationals, first world country professionals that will come and solve our problems. We understand the problems better than anyone. And if we can learn to fail often, fail fast, fail cheaply, and fail quickly, we can learn from our failures to create the solutions that eventually work to solve everyday challenges that we face. And let go of the fear. Now, I want to say to women, I say this to the women in IX Engineers, the company I run, that the comfort zone, it's a nice place to be. You're comfortable, there is no challenge, you're happy. And if you find yourself in a comfort zone, you must get worried, because it means you're not growing. Only through failing can you grow and develop yourself and create solutions that could actually change the way humanity exists. But if you analyze fear, it's actually an illusion. It doesn't exist, but yet it's got such a powerful impact on us. So why not let go of the fear? So the other thing that women, I think, really fear is around being out there and being on the platform and being the center of attention. Because why? There's a fear of criticism. There's a fear of being considered inadequate. There's a fear of, what if I say the wrong thing and maybe make some people really upset? But it doesn't exist. So let's learn to dream and dream big. Let's not have small dreams. And if we can learn to have big dreams, but dreams that will make an impact in the world and in our country, and dreams that could change our lives, change the next generation lives, then we will be a nation to be reckoned with. By the way, dreaming does not mean you already have all the answers to the challenges. Dreaming is about taking the challenges that we experience on a daily basis and saying, how do we solve these challenges? And just pick one. If you look at our sustainable development goals as a country, we've got about 17 of them. Choose one. We've got the likes of poverty as one of our sustainable development goals, poverty alleviation, water and sanitation, gender equality, which is what we hear about today. There's housing, there's sustainable energy, there's health. You know, all these things are underpinned by infrastructure. So if we look at the full sustainable development goals of South Africa, they would not happen without infrastructure. Therefore, infrastructure is at the center of humanity. And if we can start by choosing one of these sustainable development goals and say, okay, let me solve the health problem we face now with COVID-19. And let's choose, just as yourself, choose health as your challenge and say, I'm gonna try and understand how I can make a contribution in the health sector as an engineer. And don't worry about whether you've got a solution or not. You dissect that big problem into small manageable pieces and you engage with all stakeholders, including the affected parties. And through collaboration with others, solutions will come. And once you have a solution that works, obviously that will attract funding that you need to implement your solution. So it's also not an easy task because these are big challenges. These are big problems that we face every day. And if it was simple, everyone would have been doing it. But no one is doing it because it's not simple. It is hard and it will take time, commitment, and a lot of sweat and pain for you to eventually get to that aha moment and say, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. So what does the future of infrastructure look like? So if you look at where the world is going with regards to infrastructure, the world is moving towards decentralization of systems, looking at micro productions. The world is moving towards the reuse of resources, smart materials, connected infrastructure, integrated infrastructure. And all these can only happen if we've got blended finance solutions, we've got public-private partnerships. I don't think in the next 20 years, government will be owning any wastewater treatment plant because it does not make sense. It should be a public-private ownership structure, which is more sustainable than how we've been doing things. So we need to start thinking differently about how we solve infrastructure problems. If you look at the 4R and the possibilities that it brings, it is actually attainable that we can, through collaboration between us and private sector and public sector, develop solutions that are actually sustainable and work and that can work. So if you look at the definition of 4R and what drives it, 4R is about the biological, physical, and digital world being connected. Now, if you look at infrastructure, it incorporate all these three. And if we can start incorporating technology in developing smart infrastructure that is sustainable, then we've got a sustainable future. If you look at infrastructure on its own, cyber physical systems are going to be a norm. So virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed realities are going to be the realities that we operate in as engineers. We already at IX developed virtual reality modules for training and for avoiding errors in designs. And that already saves a lot of money, saves time, because you don't have to be dealing with conflicting errors on site. You're already dealing that in your virtual space. If you look at IoT, that's how we're going to connect our infrastructure through sensors. And artificial intelligence is just going to underpin the whole 4R industry, the 4R transformation in our industry, because through artificial intelligence, you now start having intelligent systems that do not require us to be there for them to continue to operate. Robotics, who already are having issues where you've got a wastewater treatment that is blocked and you don't need a human being to get in there to fix it. You can actually have a robot because it's a hazardous area for a human being to be in. And additive manufacturing, commonly known as 3D printing, it's already a reality. We already have the likes of Refilwe Lidika, who's part of us, who is an expert in 3D printing. And all these realities, we need to start adopting them in infrastructure development. Now, I'm going to close very soon, but I want to talk about this complex, volatile, uncertain, ambiguous world that we live in. The reality is, well, it's called the VUCA world. That's the acronym for it. VUCA standing for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, A for ambiguous. The reality is, this is our new normal. The world is going to continue to be complex, to be volatile. And we need to constantly learn new habits and unlearn old habits. That's important. We need to unlearn the old habits to navigate this world, because certain habits would not make things work for us in the current new normal we live in. And COVID-19, obviously, as Dr. Ramokota has mentioned, has just accelerated the 4IR transformation. So how do we survive as engineers in this complex world? As we know, the greatest asset in any country, in any company, in any organization, in any community are its people. So we need to take time to upskill ourselves and to reskill ourselves, to continue to be competitive and to continue to come up with solutions that are in line with the new reality. And as engineers, let's not be comfortable in the engineering space that we're in, because that is going to be constantly be disrupted, whether by engineers or completely different people from different sectors. You might find artists disrupting engineering because they're coming up with solutions that we can't think of. So I would say make time to learn a new skill, because that will make us remain competitive and remain relevant. Now, in ending, this is the challenge for Dr. Ramokgopa. So Dr. Ramokgopa, research has shown that the rise of digital platforms can create new opportunities for women or leave them further behind. If a platform could connect service providers with credible clients that could help women entrepreneurs to access resources and capital, alleviating growing pains for the businesses, that should be something that is worth considering. And I would like to challenge you, Dr. Ramokopa, to please consider developing a platform within your unit that will connect all companies to infrastructure projects in your area. This platform should now be called, what's important is that it must be co-created. As you mentioned in your response to Rafiki, that solutions are developed by collaboration with end users. Now, this platform must also be developed within that spirit of collaboration with end users. And this platform must also have an element of a set aside for women participation. And please, the women's participation must not only be limited to small, minuscule projects that do not make an impact in what they do. And this platform, most importantly, must also allow for innovation, because if we don't continue to disrupt the engineering sector, others will come and disrupt us, unfortunately. So I thank you on that note. Thank you, Chairperson.